Let's go to this story now. A former South African Airways board member, Yakhe Kwinana, is set to appear in the East London Magistrates Court today. She faces several charges, including extortion, malicious damage to property and unlawful evictions from her land near the East London airport. Kwinana insists that she was enforcing legal eviction orders, while some residents claim that they were misled by the committee into believing that they owned the land. Newzroom Afrika's Sipha Kema is on that story for us this morning. Sipha, very good morning to you. And you managed to speak to some of the alleged victims and also the security officers that were helping her execute what she was terming at the time rent that was due to her. Tell us more about that story and the charges that she faces this morning.
Well, Aldrin, from what we have gathered and also what we've been told by the occupants, the land occupants, as well as the security company, the private security company owner, Gabs Mchala, who was contracted by Ms. Kwinana about 7 months ago. Now, Gabs Mchala is a known taxi boss in these parts of the Eastern Cape, but he also owns a private security company. And he says that 7 months ago, he was approached by Ms. Kwinana, who said that she was having issues regarding illegal occupants on her land. Now, from what we have gathered and what we have been told by the occupants, the first part would be when they arrived in 2018 in that particular spot that they refer to as portion 11, is that they were under the impression that the people who were selling the plots and those that had created a committee that were giving off the plots of land to various people. They were told by this committee that that land was going to belong to the people as there were processes being done with lawyers. Now, the occupant tells us that they kept being told to contribute money for the lawyers, contribute money to create the road structures that are there. Now, from what we've also been informed by the occupants as well as Gabs Mchala is that Ms. Kwinana had gone through the processes of trying to evict the occupants from the land that she says is hers. But unfortunately, the number of times that she's been there, she was turned away by the community, and that's multiple times. And then she came back with the private security services who would then assist her in handing out these court orders as well as eviction notices. But what we've been told by Gabs Mchala is that the people then approached Ms. Kwinana to say that can we rather rent instead of vacating the land, pay rent to you? That was the agreement, that they would be paying 2.5 per month as part of a contribution, as the electricity that they're using is said to be under Ms. Kwinana's name at Eskom. Now, how it ended up to where we are currently, Aldrin, let's hear what the private security company owner, Gabs Mchala, as well as one of the occupants, has had to say.
Well, apologies for that, Sipha. We don't seem to have that bite currently, but just give us a gist of what he had to say in that piece.
Well, he was just confirming some of the things that had been said initially by Yakhe Kwinana, that the fact that she had tried multiple times through courts, through eviction, through the sheriff. We do believe sheriff had handed out eviction notices to those houses that are currently occupying her land. And this was also confirmed by one of the occupants, saying that they had received letters of eviction and also a court order that had asked them to remove, that was handed over by the sheriff for each and every household. But they did not leave. And an agreement was reached, Aldrin, to say that then they would pay rent from 2.5, and we were also informed that some of the community members that claimed to not be able to afford the 2,500 rands a month. Then it was lowered to 1,000 rand per month. But also those with bigger houses, as Aldrin, it's not just informal structures that are occupying the land. People have then built their own bigger houses made out of brick and mortar. But we've also been informed by the occupant that they were actually misled, saying that they believed that the land was bought for them by the committee. Now, this speaks to the greater issue of land ownership and land invasion and the processes, Aldrin, behind it. And those are some of the issues. And some of the concerns that was also raised by Gabs Mchala was the fact that some people that have built houses there are not residing there, but they're using those properties for commercial purposes, like the flatlets that we saw that have been built there as well, like also the container that's operating as a spaza shop there as well. That person had bought that piece of land, is leasing to someone else. But in all this, Gabs Mchala says Ms. Kwinana, the rightful owner of the land, is not benefiting at all.
Thank you so much, Sipha Kema, there joining us ahead of the appearance of Yakhe Kwinana later on this morning.